Hello everyone, welcome to Come Sit at My Table. We're Tom and Melissa and we sure are happy to have you here for our video. We are going to do a delicious dessert today that is absolutely perfect for summer. It's perfect for summer because there's really no cooking. When I say if you can boil water, you can make this dessert, I mean it. Literally all you have to do is boil some water and then we're going to blend everything else together. Also, it's perfect for summer because it's so light and airy and fluffy, and it just tastes like summer. Now, before we go on, let me tell you that this recipe is in our cookbook. It's on page 379. So if you have a copy of our cookbook, you can turn to page 379 and follow along while we do Summertime Dream Dessert. While you're grabbing your books, let me tell you that this can be done in a variety of flavors. We're doing orange today, but most of the time when I make this, I make lemon. We use lemon Jell-O and country time lemonade mix. But I've also done strawberry. I use strawberry Jell-O and strawberry Kool-Aid mix. So you can use whatever flavor you want. You just have to have that flavor of Jell-O and some kind of a drink mix to go into it. You don't want to make the drink mix, you just want the powder. Also, I wanted to make sure you understood that I am doubling the recipe today. In the book, it says to use a 3-ounce box of Jell-O and 2 tablespoons of the drink mix. I'm using a 6-ounce box of Jell-O and 4 tablespoons of the drink mix. And that's because I like the dessert to be a little thicker. You don't have to do that. If you want to make this in a 9x13 pan, or an 8x8 pan, you can just make the single recipe like it is in the book. But I'm going to use a 9x7 pan that is deeper, and I want this dessert to be a little thicker than the single, so I am doubling it. So just be aware of that as we go along. Okay, hopefully you're on page 379. Somebody said that when I talk about following along in the cookbook, I sound like a teacher telling students to get out their textbook.
Old habits die hard.
I apologize. I'm an old teacher, and like Melissa said, old habits die hard. Okay, let's talk about what we're going to use today to make Summertime Dream Dessert. We're going to start with a box of Jell-O. Now, like I said, I'm doubling it, so I'm using a 6-ounce box of orange Jell-O. You're going to make that Jell-O exactly the way it tells you to on the box. This says to use 2 cups of boiling water and 2 cups of cold water. So that's what I'm going to do. But if you don't use Jell-O brand and you use something else, just follow the directions on the box and make the Jell-O the way it says. That's step 1. So we're going to use Jell-O. I already have 2 cups of water on the stove that is boiling that we can use, and I have 2 cups of cold water, and I did put a few ice cubes in it just to make sure it was good and cold. You're also going to need some drink mix. Now, because we're using orange Jell-O, I'm using Tang drink mix. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, this was a real treat. When my mom and dad broke over and bought us some Tang and we had that for breakfast, I just thought it was the greatest thing in the world. So we're using Tang today.
You had it for breakfast?
Absolutely. This was what we ate. We drank for breakfast with our breakfast. Well, only on days that we were really lucky.
Okay.
Most of the time we had milk straight from the cow. Dad would go out and milk the cow and we would drink milk straight from the cow. But boy, if we got Tang, we were in heaven. Then we're going to use cream cheese. Now the regular recipe, the normal recipe calls for 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese. But I'm doubling it, so I'm using 2. And then when you get ready to serve, you're going to want some kind of creamy topping, either some Redi-Wip, some Cool Whip, something to put on top. That's it. Jell-O, water, cream cheese, and drink mix. All you have to do is boil water. Okay, so the first step is we're going to make our Jell-O. So I'm just going to open our box, and I'm going to put that right in our pan. By the way, I can get rid of that because I already have that water boiling. So I'm just going to put this right in our dish that we're going to let the Jell-O set up in. Now I'm going to take my boiling water, turn my fire off, put my boiling water right in that pan with the Jell-O, and I'm going to stir to make sure that dissolves. It could take, maybe a minute or two for that to dissolve, but you just want to make sure that that Jell-O powder is completely dissolved before you add the cold water, because you don't want little crystals in there floating around that people are going to bite down on. So just make sure it's completely dissolved before you add the cold water. Now, let me tell you a little story while we're doing this. So the first time I ever made this was back in the 1970s. I was in high school. And when I found this recipe, I thought, there is no way this can work. I mean, really, just Jell-O, drink mix, and cream cheese? Not possible. But I gave it a try, and we loved it. And I'll tell you that the reason I made it the first time was because I realized I could make this low carb. And I was on a low carb diet at the time. I was a little heavy in high school. Things haven't changed much. So, I made this a lot, especially when I was doing low carb. But then Melissa and I got married. And she's not a real fan of Jell-O, are you, babe?
It's not my favorite. I always associate it with being sick.
Yeah, because her mom always fed it to them when they were sick. So, she's not a real fan of Jell-O. So, I just put this recipe away, kind of forgot about it, and didn't make it because I just thought, if she knows there's Jell-O in it, she's probably not going to want it. But a few years ago, I was going through some old recipes, an old folder I had, and I saw this, and I thought, I could probably make this, hide the Jell-O box from her, and she may not even know there's Jell-O in it. So that's what I did. One night while she was in her scrapbook room scrapbooking, I made the Jell-O, and I hid this very pan of Jell-O in the back of our refrigerator. Okay, I'm going to add our cold water, and I'm just going to put that ice in there too. It will melt. I hid the pan, let it set up overnight, and the next day I finished the dessert without her seeing it. And then that evening, after it was ready, it had set up and it was ready, I took a piece to her in her scrapbook room, where she was again, and I said, hey, I made a new dessert. You want to try it? And she said, of course. So I gave it to her. I left the room and just left her with it just to see if she would say, is this Jell-O? But she didn't say anything. So a few minutes later, I went back and I said, so what do you think? And she said, this is one of the best summer desserts I've ever seen. This is delicious. So I confessed, told her that it was Jell-O and that I had hidden it in the back of the refrigerator to see if I could get her to like it without knowing what it was. And we've been using it ever since.
But it's disguised Jell-O.
Oh my goodness. That's one of the funniest stories. And I always get a kick out of the fact that I tricked her.
It's kind of Jell-O incognito.
Into trying this. Okay, so that's finished. All I'm going to do now is put that in the refrigerator, leave it for 4 to 6 hours until it is completely set up. When it's set up, we're going to come back. We're going to take, I know this sounds crazy, you all. We're going to take this Jell-O out of this pan and put it in a blender with our drink mix and our cream cheese. And we're going to blend it up in a blender. And then we're going to pour it right back into this pan and let it set up a second time, and then it'll be ready. Now, I did mention that I started using this because I was doing a low-carb diet. This is so easy to do with low carb. You can find sugar-free Jell-O, and you can find sugar-free drink mix. I used Crystal Light when I did it with the lemon, but you can find other flavors that are sugar-free. So if you want to do this sugar-free, it's very easy to do. And of course, cream cheese, no carbs. Okay, I'm just going to put this into the refrigerator. We're going to let it set up, and then we'll come back for step 2. Our Jell-O has had time to set up. It's been about 6 hours. So I'm ready to go on to step 2. This is completely set up, as you can see.
Wiggling and jiggling.
It's wiggling and jiggling. So because I did a double batch, I'm only going to blend half of it at a time. So I'm going to take half the Jell-O, 2 tablespoons of my Tang powder, and 1 block of cream cheese and blend it. Then I'll do the other half of the Jell-O, the rest of the Tang, the rest of the cream cheese, and then pour it all back in here. All right, so we're just going to literally scoop this out.
Look at that beautiful Jell-O.
And put it right in. I know you're just dying for a bite of this, Melissa.
After we get it all mixed up, for sure.
Try to control yourself while I'm doing this. I know it's hard. She would just love to dig right into this, wouldn't you?
Oh, it's my favorite, you know.
Yeah, we know it's not. But it's good after you get this made.
It is. It's delicious when it's all mixed up with the Tang and the cream cheese. To be so simple, it really is quite tasty.
It really is. It's so easy. All right, I've got half of my Jell-O in. So I'm going to add 2 scoops, 2 tablespoons of my drink mix. There's 1 and 2. Now, if you have noise sensitivities,
What about your cream cheese?
that doesn't go in yet.
Oh, okay.
If you have noise sensitivities, turn your volume down because this does get loud. Okay, we're going to turn it on, and I'm going to turn it all the way to high. Then we're going to start dropping our cream cheese into the blender 1 piece at a time. And you can see that I have cubed it up. I have cut it, just chopped it up into cubes. And I will drop it into the blender 1 piece at a time. Here we go. Okay, now we have half of it done. I will empty this and then we'll do the other half. This is the first batch I blended. That's the first half.
Goes right back in the same dish.
Goes right back in the same dish. And the second batch that I blended, right back in. Now, I do something that you don't have to do, and the original recipe didn't say to do it. But I usually take a whisk and just whisk this together a little bit, just to make sure that the 2 batches are blended together well. So, let me grab a whisk here, and I just like to go right in and whisk them together. Okay. That's it. We're going right back in the refrigerator, and in probably another 3 to 4 hours, it's going to be ready to cut. Well, obviously it's the next day. Our summertime dream dessert has been in the refrigerator and set up overnight. So now it's time to do a taste test. Baby, you going first?
I'd love to.
I love this dessert in the summer.
Tastes like the creamsicle.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit like those push-up pops we used to get.
Absolutely. I love push-ups.
Oh yeah. Same flavor.
It's so good.
Very light. Very refreshing.
Very creamy. Of course, that's the cream cheese in it. It's just so light and refreshing.
Perfect for this time of year.
But I'm going to tell you, it's equally as good using lemon. I love it in lemon too, but this is really good. All right, thank you so much for being here for our video. We do appreciate it. We would like to ask you to go right below this video and click that thumbs up button. That's the like button. The more people who click that, the more times YouTube will share our video. So you could really help us out by doing that. Also, if you've never subscribed to our channel, we invite you to go right below this video, click that subscribe button. There's a little notification bell right beside of it. If you click it in the word all, YouTube will notify you every time we put up a new video. We like to say that gives you a seat at our table. So we invite you to click that subscribe button if you've not done it before. Right below this video, you will see a description box. It's going to say Summertime Dream Dessert in that box. If you click in that box, it will expand. Melissa always puts the written recipe for you right there. Right under that recipe is our address if you'd like to send us some tried and true recipes. And right under that address is an Amazon link where you can order our cookbook. It's going to look like this. If you can't find the link, and I promise you it's there, but if you can't find it, you can just go to Amazon.com. In the search bar at the top, type in "Come Sit at My Table Cookbook," and it should come up. At the very bottom of the screen, there's a place where you can leave a comment. We love hearing from you. So please go down there and just leave us a comment. We would appreciate that. Again, we do appreciate you being here for our video. We want you to remember that you are always welcome to come sit at my table. Have a great day.